Hi Hilda, this is Bev. Okay, let's take a look at your task 2. When a society is full of artistic atmosphere, it is usually considered culturally sophisticated and advanced. I don't know if full of artistic atmosphere, you might want to say when a society is considered to be culturally rich, okay? However, if too much money is allocated to the development of the arts, okay, because it's an area of interest, it will lack resources, or it may result in insufficient resources or funds to improve public services. As far as I am concerned, ED, it should allocate the majority of funds for practical matters that relate to most people. Take away the. Okay, very good introduction, Hilda. Okay, just change one or two words. On the one hand, without art, people may feel very disinterested in life. You don't get uninteresting, you get disinterested in life. Full stop. Okay. Art can serve an important role in a citizen's cultural life. Art and spiritual life are not the same thing, not necessarily. Okay, so spiritual life usually refers to different kinds of religions and faith. Okay, we're talking about art. Okay, then as a matter of fact, is the saying, not the as a matter of fact, it is quite difficult for art institutions to generate profit without help from the government. For example, many theatres and other such places have been closed because they could not gain enough financial support and are unable to continue to provide entertainment to the public. Therefore, it is worth what it is worth, it can be justified that a certain portion of funds should be allocated to the art industry. Okay. On the other hand, there are several reasons why spending significant amounts of a government's budget on public services. Hang on. What you're saying is, on the other hand, there are several reasons why a significant amount of the government's funds should be spent on public services. In terms, of public services, such as hospitals, roads, and education, no S, it's already plural, etc. These things determine the quality of life that all people will have. For instance, if the government lacks funding for hospitals, the health of society could decline. Okay, it's not a proven fact. Moreover, if insufficient money is spent on schooling or in the education sector, children may not become properly educated. Therefore, the largest portion of money or funds, or the budget, if you want to use different words, should be assigned to issues that affect the majority of the population. To sum up, spiritual and physical needs should be satisfied. Okay, that's not very good grammar. I think you can see that. I wouldn't say spiritual, I would say cultural. We're talking about cultural things here. Okay, should be satisfied. However, on a limited budget, I believe that more funds should be spent on things that influence and benefit all citizens. Okay, very good argument, Hilda. Very nicely put across. The reader can follow your argument. It's very good. Okay, just be careful to break up some of your sentences and ideas so that the sentences are more succinct, and be very careful with your subject plural agreements. things like education is already plural, okay? And don't confuse spiritual and cultural, okay? Good, let's move on to your task one. Okay, so the bar chart compares the average grades. It's not grades, okay? And it's not average. It's the band scores achieved for Ielts candidates across 4 sections, namely listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Okay, and it's not girls and boys, it's male and female. We don't know the ages, okay, in 2012. Remember that when you comment on task 1 and the task and the graphs and charts, it must be specific to what is in the graph. You need to describe it as if the person cannot see the graph. Okay, all right. As we can see from the graph, you can say the graph shows, or the graph depicts, okay, that the results of the female candidates were generally higher than those of the male candidates, okay. However, the distinction was subtle. The distinction was subtle was subtle in that it was only a difference of 0.1 and 0.3 in all these skills. Okay, listening, reading, writing, speaking are skills. Okay. Okay, remember that you're talking about band scores. Okay, for the listening and the reading, girls achieved a band score, not girls. The female candidates achieved a band score of 6.1, while the male candidates achieved a score of 5.8. Okay. Regarding the writing, the marks of the male candidates were lower by 0.2 points were lower than the female candidates by 0.2 points. Okay. Full stop, new sentence. They achieved 5.6 and 5.4 respectively. The difference in the speaking was only 0.1, with the girls achieving a score of 5.9, whereas the female candidates achieved a score of 5.9 and the male candidates achieved 5.8. Overall, it can be seen that whether male or female, the majority of the participants were weakest in the writing section. They lacked confidence in speaking as well. Okay, Hilda, the graph does not tell you that. Okay, you can only talk about facts when it comes to task 1. Okay, you don't know that nothing in the graph tells you that because of lack of confidence, it was the reason for what they achieved. Okay, you can only comment on what you can read as fact in the graph. So you can say, they did not fare as well in the speaking. Okay, they had the same ability in the listening and the reading and performed better in these 2 areas. You can say areas, sections, or skills, okay, than the other 2. All right. Okay, Hilda, you've picked up the main points, but you haven't put it across in a way that's easy for the reader to understand. Okay, so you need to go and look at some notes on contrasting and contrast and comparison. Okay. There is a lot of material on that to show you the language that you should be using, okay? And make sure that you use a very overall term, like male and female. You don't know if it was boys, girls, old men, young women. It's just male and female, okay? So be very sure about that. You can't make a comment about why a certain figure is as it is, okay? Unless there is some graph to show a cause and effect connection. Okay, all right. So I would actually also go and have a look at some of the example essays for this type of task, and I'd also do a read, copy, cover, and write. Okay, but overall, very good effort, Hilda. Good job.